Pardon the incoherence. I mean, I think if you saw the names on the program, they're very different. We've had some last-minute emergencies and changes, so I'm stepping in to moderate. So if two things don't make sense, don't blame me. More importantly, I think the way we want to bring in this session, and I have some very competent panelists here, we're focusing on a very different environment when it comes to stepping in from a retail perspective. It wasn't, I'd say it was maybe 3 years ago when e-commerce was B2C, C2C, or B2B. I think today there are two extremely large considerations when it comes to retail. One is what you're offering, and that doesn't have to be a physical good. There's a lot of services available. I mean, there's a raft of things. And then there's the whole issue of the platform. I mean, there was a video shown earlier, if some of you were in the room, where Tesco put up products at a railway station and you could just take a photo and order your goods. So they're extremely important considerations in terms of how you decide to enter this market. Taking that into account, then you're looking at how does one step in? What is the sales pitch? Whether you even want to actively take part in this, you can ride at the back of someone. Looking at the group deal session earlier, if that's the extent of your online activity, sometimes it's a very legitimate extent of your online activity. Do it yourself or go with other platforms like Martjacks or many others that you see online. Do you build a custom experience around what you're going to do? As well as all these considerations. So while you have a brilliant idea in the way you're going to represent yourself, either online or on your phones, what about for physical goods, supply chain management, for service or virtual goods, supply chain management, or cost considerations across the board? So we're going to try and cover a fair few of these issues in what we have, like what is a limited period of time.
Are a developer and creator of a product called as Martjack. The product is offered on a SaaS basis to the retail companies and the brands so that they can leverage their existing business, their existing customers, to create an additional channel of revenue as well as customer experience and customer engagement. As well as we are also used by many startup companies who want to create an e-commerce company at a very flexible and at a very shoestring budget. Okay, so as a Martjack, we are a completely cloud-hosted platform. The companies start with a very minimal of budget and then they evolve and then innovate on top of that. We currently are used by 2,000 plus brands and retailers, as well as we empower number of marketplaces which aggregates the inventory and offers across these stores and then markets them to a closed user base of very high consumer businesses. So HDFC Bank Smart Buy, SBI Cards Mega Mall, and multiple marketplaces are actually hosted on Martjack technology. We also are creating a developer ecosystem which helps the startups evolve and innovate on top of it. So when it comes to the points or the key concepts, okay, for any startup to start a new business, I would say they have to look at the scaling. They have to look at the scaling of 5 main pillars of the business. They have to scale the supply chain, the forward and the backward. They have to scale the selection they offer, the merchandising they offer to their customers. They have to scale the customer experience and the customer acquisition itself. So, and then they have to scale the support levels. Okay, and at every scaling, there is a key part, okay, of technology, because that's how the engineering and the internet enables a physical business to scale. So I would come up with that perspective of technology on every element of the startup pillar can be scaled with the help of technology.
I just quietly asked Anisha earlier whether she did her development in-house, and she did. Was there a particular reason why you went down the in-house path? Like why not choose a supplier or an existing platform?
If you were starting out on your own, a good way to do that, or if you were just getting started into the e-tailing aspect, A good way to do that would be to take, I guess, just a little step or a bigger step, which is the website aspect of it, and figure it out. I don't think, if I already had offline operations and I was already an existing retailer, I don't think I would have essentially built this technology. But I mean, we power other retailers, so it wouldn't make no sense to outsource our technology. Plus, we're pretty technology heavy. All the analytics lies in, we would not be wanting to give that to other people.
What about the cost factor? I mean, there's this whole idea of you either go down the path of building 2,500 rupee stores, or you go down the path of building sometimes 2.5 crore rupee stores. You know, is it like, do you start small, do you start big? What's right?
Every company, when it's starting a new business, they go through this decision-making cycle of where to make or where to buy. Okay, or we are from that methodology where we say that, okay, you buy, customize, integrate, and then leverage. Okay, so how does this happen? Okay, let's say that, okay, XYZ retailer or an XYZ aspirant who wanted to start a new online e-commerce business. Okay, he come up with an idea and saying that, okay, hey, I want to cater this category. Let's say that I want to serve the shoes category, or I want to serve the footwear category, and he has to figure out multiple things. Okay, he has to figure out, how do I go about my supply chain? How do I appoint my vendors who are going to supply me these products? Then how do I going to create this site, okay, and host it so that it can scale according to my demand? His business is very small. Okay, eventually he is going to get only 2,000 or 3,000 customers visitors in first month. Then he will do the PPC, and then the customers will start scaling. Okay, the platform has to scale. Okay, and it has to provide the flexibility that, okay, it can be started with a frugal budget. Okay, and then it has to grow according to his business. So I would say that, okay, the buy, customize, integrate, and then the leverage cycle fits there. Okay, where you are not starting with a good venture funded company. Okay, you are starting on your own. You are starting to prove yourself. Okay, you wanted to prove yourself, and then you are going to go to the VC companies to invest in. Okay, to reach to that stage, you have to build a prototype. You have to build a valid business. Nobody is going to put the money on your business just by saying that, okay, on the concept. Okay, you have to prove yourself. You have to build a company. Then only the VC company might be interested. Okay, and in that cycle, if you have discovered that, okay, you can run a business, okay, on a platform, okay, and the platform allows you a non-intrusive way to customize and innovate on top of it, then that's it.
Do you have processes, like, how important is customer support for your business?
Customer support is extremely important. The supply chain management part of it, yes, there are merchants, you know, where you're dependent on the courier, and then the courier company delivers it to the guard outside and you haven't received it, and there are a lot of these small aspects that need to be taken. So there's a whole logistics team that sits in Maidala that works with the merchant as well as the customers. And then there's the customer facing, which is extremely important because I think without the users, there'd be no use. We'd have no merchants sitting there with any transactions whatsoever. So we've always been really careful about it. That being said, on products, it does get a little iffy because the supply chain in India is not as savvy as it is in the US. You can't track it literally the way you can. I order things online all the time in the US, and I've ordered them here. Here it's Bhagwan Bharose at times. And there it's, you know, you can literally track it minute by minute and see what port it's reached, where it's gone, who's delivering it, things like that. So there are certain things and complexities, but they are getting better even day by day. So it's interesting to see even the courier companies are getting more savvier, and a lot of the e-commerce companies are maintain a lot of the things in-house to interface with the courier companies. So it works out well for you know, the retailer showcasing on e-commerce companies, because essentially, you know, the e-commerce company takes some of that burden through as well.
There's obviously a lot of questions and it's harder to answer them, but I think there's two very different perspectives on this whole issue. But the underlying theme is pretty important, and that is working out whether you want to be a marketing platform or you want to do transactions, and then working out an easier, cheaper way of doing it before you try and go big.